Oh, hey, look, an advice article for young unmarried Christian women. They're part of God's flock. How wonderful that someone's reaching out to them. Let's read it, okay? It matters whom you marry. Computer geek, cool kid has the girl. Tragic story. Grr. Oh gosh, juice on the leather? That's not cool. How dare that guy? Wait. She is in for some grief if that relationship continues, and especially if it leads to marriage. Well, I mean, yeah, probably, but you can't predict the future. Stop that. Okay, good so far, solid. Number one, it will impact you spiritually, and whoa. If the guy is not a believer, you can stop right there. Well, what kind of hateful, intolerant message are you trying to send? He's an atheist, not an arsonist. You have no business yoking a redeemed soul with an unregenerate one. But isn't it your responsibility to do so? Especially if you love someone? Even if he seems open to change. Good gracious, whatever happened to hope? Christ has bought you with a price. And it's not an option to give away that blood-bought heart to someone who doesn't know and love your Lord. It will cripple your spiritual development, open up a host of temptations, stifle your prayer life, make regular church-going difficult, and cause massive parenting conflict if you have children. Well, look, to use a popular phrase, if you love the man, is it not then your cross to bear? The difficulties and hardships you face in this life reaching out to him should be rewarded in heaven, right? Staying true to yourself and your faith should be a challenge, because when it's challenged, you're fighting the good fight in the name of the Lord, to spread his word and to win over hearts and minds. And you also just may get through to him. I mean, can you imagine a more beautiful and rewarding moment than that? Your faith is a gift from God, isn't it? Look once more at the parable of the talents. Your faith, like any other gift from God, is given to you in order to be used courageously and at a risk, that you might see greater returns and have more than you were given to show your Lord when he returns. If you love a man, but you let his unbelief be the deal breaker in your relationship, then you're burying your bag of gold. And as we saw in Matthew 25, verses 26 to 30, the master rebuked and punished the fearful and lazy servant for doing nothing with what he was given. Ooh, okay, calm down. Breathe. Is he a strong one? Leads you in prayer, Bible, is it, public worship? Does make it a priority? Is that okay? Well, will he leave that to your pastor? Well, shouldn't he? I mean, that's what the pastor is there for. That's what he was educated and trained to do. It is literally his job. He is your spiritual specialist. Your husband is your husband. Okay. Many women have married spiritually immature men, thinking that it wasn't a big issue, or that the man would change, and they were wrong. They bear the scars. Oh boy, here we go again. You, ma'am, are obviously not one of these women, right? That means that you cannot speak for them. Okay, number two. It will impact you emotionally. Is the guy you're thinking of going to encourage you, love you, be kind to you, seek to understand you? We go out as guys, so will he listen when you're struggling with something, or will he be preoccupied with a video game? Is he going to get annoyed when you cry, or will he get you a Kleenex and give you a hug? Is he going to understand that you are probably more tender than he is, more sensitive to issues and comments? Regularly going to run roughshod over your feelings. One woman was struggling to breastfeed her new baby, believing that that was the best thing for her, but it was very difficult. Instead of giving support and encouragement, the husband would make mooing sounds whenever he saw his wife working at it. We have to get rid of princess complexes, but we do have emotional needs. Any guy who's uncaring about your feelings and self-esteem is selfish and should be left in the be careful, a husband can cripple or foster emotional health. You know what? That paragraph was pretty good. Clever product placement, too. Barely noticed. Number 3. It will impact you physically. Is the guy you're with going to provide for your basic needs? Will he be able to shelter, clothe, and feed you? At one point in our marriage, I was worried that there was no employment opportunity. My husband assured me that he would work at McDonald's, dig ditches, clean up roadkill, whatever it took to provide for the family, regardless of his gifts and training. That's the kind of attitude you want. Yeah, I completely agree with that. That's good stuff. A man who doesn't provide for his household is worse than an infidel. 1 Timothy 5:8. Oh, good, you do know your Bible. That helps your case a little bit. Oh, look, that's in direct conflict with item number 1. How curious. Will the man you are with care for your body or abuse it? If he gives you little smacks, kicks, etc. when you're dating, get away. Okay, fair enough. Watch out for warning signs. Good. But exactly what scale are we talking here? Are we talking affectionate horseplay, or are we talking gestures of actual spite? That's a very important distinction, and you really need to make it when you're writing something like this. It's almost guaranteed that he will abuse you after marriage, and stats show that's especially true when you are pregnant. Okay, solid. Good advice. Where's the... is there a... Oh, for the love of big brown bubbly bacon bits, will you please cite a reference for your statistics? Okay. Women in churches across America thought it was no big deal to have little sort of friendly punches or slaps. Covering up bruises from their... Okay, again, can you please give me a sense of scale here? It's almost like you're afraid to really talk about it in greater detail, but you need to. As readers, we need you to, because this is just not specific enough. And I think you might be misconstruing some harmless things as red flags and warning signs when they really shouldn't be, but you're not being specific enough for me to be sure. I don't know what scale of physical altercation you're talking here. Will the man you are with care for you sexually? Is he going to honor the marriage bed in physical and mental faithfulness to you, or will he flirt, feed his porn addiction, or even leave you for another woman? You can't always predict these issues, but if the seeds or practices are already there, watch out. I recently saw a newly married couple and the husband was flirting openly with another woman. Unless something drastic happens, that marriage is headed for disaster. Again, I see the red flag too, but stop talking like you're predicting the future. You can't. You're looking at people during brief moments in time and making some very big assumptions. Is he going to be tender and gentle to you in bed? An unbelieving coworker once told my sister that after her first sexual encounter, she had trouble walking for a few days because her boyfriend was so rough. Wow, why are you even sharing this with us? I know it's anonymous, but this is just base gossip and hearsay. Just read that again. An unbelieving coworker once told my sister. And then, in other words, he wasn't selfless enough to care for the body of the woman he said he loved. Oh, you did not just give me your interpretation of event that you were not present for, that you heard about through someone else. You have no business putting this story in other words. It didn't happen to you, and it didn't even happen to anyone you know, and you certainly know nothing about the man that was involved other than his gender. You told us that the woman is an unbeliever. Okay, well that's a piece of information, but you know nothing about this man. Is it possible that she wanted her first time to be rough? Is it possible that he didn't know he was going too fast or too hard? Did she not say something about it during the deed because she might be inexperienced and doesn't know how important feedback is and just thought that maybe that was the way it works? There are so many things about this story that you don't know because it did not happen to you. Okay. Number 4. It will impact you mentally. Is the man that you're thinking of going to be a source of worry, or will he help you deal with your worries? Is he going to encourage your intellectual development, or will he neglect it? Is he going to value your opinions and listen to what you are thinking, or will he disregard your thoughts? Is he going to help you manage stress so that your mind is not burdened that way, or is he going to let you struggle through issues alone? Is he going to care for you and be thoughtful of you if you are experiencing mental strain, or will he ignore it? I know of a woman who could handle pregnancy and childbirth very well physically, but postpartum depression took a huge toll on her mind. The husband overlooked it, continuing to have more children until his wife ended up in a mental institution. You might think that the intellectual or mental side of a marriage is small, it's bigger than you think, consider it seriously. You know what? That paragraph wasn't bad either. I mean, it's pretty much a retread of the first paragraph of number 3, but hey, at least it makes sense. Number 5, it will impact you relationally. How's your relationship with your mother, your dad? Do you love them? Does your boyfriend? Fast forward 10 years. You tell your husband that your mother's coming for the weekend. Is he excited, disappointment, angry, making snide jokes with friends? Of course, a husband should come first in your priority of relationships as you both leave father and mother and cleave to one another. But parents are still a big part of the picture. Whatever negative feelings he has about your parents now will probably be amplified after marriage. Your marriage will either strengthen or damage or even destroy your relationship with your parents. The people you know best and love you most right now could be cut out of the picture by a husband who hates them. You know, I'm kind of glad that the writer asked how those relationships with family members might be before she went on to illustrate how the husband could possibly ruin them, because it does leave some room for the possibility that maybe the reader's family ties are not that great. So that makes the warning pretty fair. Will the guy who you're with encourage healthy relationships with other women, or will he be jealous of normal biblical friendships? Okay. At this point, I might just be nitpicking, but there should not be a comma between normal and biblical there. According to Global Christianity, a 2011 report on the size and distribution of the world's Christian population by the Pew Research Center, the total Christian population of the world in 2010 was about 2.18 billion people, which is less than half of the approximately 6.9 billion people on the face of the planet. By those figures, it's more normal to not be Christian than it is to be Christian. So it would make more sense to remove the comma and just call it a normal biblical friendship than to leave the comma in, which insinuates that a biblical friendship is a normal friendship. Now, you can take this as some sort of comment on the relevance and place of Christianity in our world today, but I think it's more accurate to just take this as an illustration of just how much I absolutely hate carelessly placed commas. Will he help you mentor younger women and be thankful when older women mentor you? Or will he belittle that? I think you said something like that already in number 4. All right. Don't sacrifice many good relationships for the sake of one guy who can't value the people who love you. Yeah, that's pretty sound advice. Okay. Now, last paragraph. So how will your boyfriend do after the vows? Because this is just a sampling of the ways that a husband can bless or curse his wife. The effects are far-reaching, long-lasting, and either wonderful or difficult. True, there are no perfect men out there, but there are great ones. You know, I like this. I wish the whole article was this thoughtful and understanding. And it's better to be single for life than to marry someone who will make your life a burden. Oh, here we go again. Look, you don't know that. You are married. Singleness can be great. It has its moments, but boy does it get lonely. Marriage to the wrong person is a nightmare. I've been in a church parking lot where the pastor had to call the police to protect a wife from a husband who was trying to stop her from worshiping and being with her family. It's ugly. You know what? Best anecdote so far. You know why? Because you're not trying to predict the future, and you were actually there. Don't be so desperate to get married that your marriage is a grief. If you're in an unhappy marriage, there are ways to get help. But if you're not married, don't put yourself in that situation. You know what? Solid advice. Follow it. Don't marry someone whose leadership you can't follow. Don't marry someone who is not seeking to love you as Christ loved the church. Yeah, that's solid Christian advice. Marry someone who knows and demonstrates the love of Christ. Oh, here we go with that mistake again. You don't have to know the love of Christ in order to demonstrate it. If a woman loves a man who loves her and is good to her, and will be there to get her through thick and thin, it shouldn't matter that he doesn't believe what she does. In return for his love, she can give her his, in the form of devotion, faithfulness, and the effort to show him the light of God through example. And who are you to, and how dare you to, tell them differently?